The silence before a storm is never truly silent. In the war rooms of 100 alien civilizations, they called it the stillness, that eerie calm that preceded any human response to provocation. It lasted exactly long enough for hope to bloom in the hearts of fools. The Galactic Empire had just made themselves the galaxy's most celebrated fools. Part 1. The Violation. The peace treaty had been signed on neutral ground, in the presence of 47 galactic witnesses, sealed with blood, crystal, and quantum-locked encryption that should have been unbreakable. Should have been. Supreme Sovereign Serena of the Galactic Ascendancy stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Eternal Dominion, watching the feed from the colony world of Myra's Rest. 300,000 human settlers, one agricultural planet, one orbital defense station, now a cloud of debris. Sovereign, her military adjutant whispered, the strike was successful. The human garrison is eliminated. Serena pressed her long violet fingers together in satisfaction. And the treaty? Technically violated, Sovereign. Technically. She let the word hang. Humanity has grown comfortable. Comfortable creatures forget they are prey. Send word to the Council. The Veil Theory reclaim the Mira Corridor. Any human vessel that enters will be considered an act of war. She expected protests. She expected diplomatic fury. She did not expect the silence. For 6 full days, nothing. No human warships screaming across the border. No emergency transmissions. No political ultimatums carried by pale-faced ambassadors. Just the stillness. On the 7th day, a single human ship appeared on long-range sensors. Not a warship. A transport vessel, unarmed, broadcasting on all standard frequencies. And then a voice filled the bridge. This is Colonel Daniel, Strategic Coordinator for the Terran Defense Compact. I'm transmitting this message to Sovereign Serena directly, as a professional courtesy. We've registered the violation of the Kepler Accords. We've completed our threat assessment. We will be sending a formal response team within 48 hours. A pause. We want you to understand. This response will operate within the full framework of the Geneva Conventions. Another pause. Shorter this time, but somehow heavier. And the parts we merely suggest. The transmission ended. Serena turned to her intelligence chief. What are the Geneva Conventions? The intelligence chief pulled up the file. Her skin, blue-gray, scaled at the temples, when a color Serena had never seen on her before. Sovereign, she said quietly. I think we should call an emergency council. Part 2. The Strategist. Daniel was not a large man by human standards. He was lean, gray at the temples, with the kind of eyes that had seen too many maps and too many body counts. He sat in the prefabricated command center on Myra's Rest's surviving moon, surrounded by junior officers who had stopped speaking in anything above a murmur. On the table before him, a single cup of coffee, gone cold, and a tactical display showing the full disposition of Galactic forces. They've pulled their forward pickets back 12,000 kilometers, said Lieutenant Yara, pointing at the shifting formation. They're reorganizing. They're scared, Daniel said simply. Sir, they have 400 warships in the corridor. And we have 17. He sipped the cold coffee without making a face. Numbers aren't the point, Lieutenant. The point is what we are willing to do with what we have. He set the cup down. Pull up the targeting packages. The display shifted. 43 sites highlighted in red, not military installations. Power grids, water processing nodes, agricultural distribution hubs. The civilian infrastructure of the Galactic colonial network. Yara stared. Sir, those are civilian. Which is exactly why we won't touch them, Daniel said. Pull that display down. I want it replaced with this one. He slid a chip across the table. The new display was different. Military command nodes. Fleet resupply chains. The 3 shipyards that built 60% of Galactic warships. The quantum communication relays that linked Serena's command to her border fleets. This, Daniel said, is what's on the table. This is what we can do. What international law permits us to do against a military force that has committed an act of aggression. He let the display rotate slowly. And this, he tapped the table, is what we will actually do, because this is proportionate, lawful, and sufficient. He leaned back. The suggestion of Geneva isn't cruelty, Lieutenant. It's the opposite. It's the hard line we drew around ourselves, the list of things we could do, but won't. The enemy looks at what we won't do, and they imagine it. That imagination. He tapped his temple. That's the weapon. Yara stared at the display for a long moment. So what are we actually sending in? Daniel smiled. It was a very small, very tired smile. 3 ships. The right 3 ships. And a message Serena will understand. Part 3. The Reckoning. When the Terran response fleet arrived, Serena had been expecting a wall of metal and fire. What she got was 3 vessels, sleek, dark, bearing no weapons visible on exterior scans. They came to a full stop at the edge of the Mira corridor and held position. Then Daniel's voice returned to her bridge. Sovereign Serena, before we begin, I want to be transparent with you. Under the Kepler Accords, which your empire violated, humanity is legally authorized to conduct the following military actions. He began to list them, one by one, calmly, with the precise, unhurried voice of a man reading a recipe. The list took 4 minutes. At the end of it, silence. Then Daniel spoke again. We will do none of those things. We are humans. We have rules. We follow them even when, especially when, we don't have to. His voice dropped slightly. What we will do is this. Those 3 ships you're looking at will disable your quantum relay network in the Mira sector. Not destroy. Disable. You'll be blind and silent for 96 hours. During that time, we will evacuate any surviving human civilians. We will document the treaty violation for Galactic Record. And we will file an Article 7 grievance with the Interstellar Council. A pause. And Sovereign. The entire galaxy will be watching what we chose not to do. Every empire, every collective, every civilization that is currently deciding whether humanity is worth fearing. His voice was very quiet now. They won't be afraid of our weapons. They'll be afraid of our restraint. Because an enemy who controls themselves completely, who could burn you to ash but chooses a scalpel, that enemy, Sovereign, is the one you can never outthink. The 3 human ships moved. In 8 minutes, the relay network was dark. In 96 hours, it was over, exactly as Daniel had described. No civilian casualties. No collateral destruction. The Veiltheri military assets in the corridor sat untouched, useless, unable to respond to an enemy who had already left. Serena stood at her viewport for a long time after the Terran ships departed. Intelligence Chief, she said finally. Sovereign. The Geneva Suggestion. She paused. What did they suggest? The Intelligence Chief was quiet for a moment. That's the point, Sovereign. They never told us. They only told us what they wouldn't do. She hesitated. And somehow that was enough. Serena looked out at the stars for a long time. She had commanded 40 wars. She had broken 7 treaties. She had faced civilizations that roared and civilizations that begged. She had never, in all her centuries of rule, faced something that frightened her the way that restraint did. The humans had held every terrible thing they were capable of quietly in their hands, and smiled, and put it back down. That, she realized, was not mercy. That was a message, and she had received it perfectly. Somewhere on a cold moon, Colonel Daniel poured himself a fresh cup of coffee, hot this time, and began writing his after-action report. In the field marked, weapons deployed, he typed a single word. Precedent.